Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Robin Wilhoit. Welcome to 10 at 2. Knox County, just months away now from electing a new county mayor. Glenn Jacobs will be wrapping up his second term in just a matter of months. We are going to sit down over the course of the next couple of weeks with all of the candidates, but our first discussion comes today with County Commissioner Larsen Jay, who has thrown his hat into the race. Plus, grieving parents, they're left in limbo when it comes to funding of a high school track that is to be built in memory of their daughter. We're going to talk to the reporter who will be bringing us this story a little later on 10 News. But before we get to all that, we want to bring in meteorologist Mike Simon. Where did the sun go?
I know it's going to be hard to even notice the sun over the next few days. We're kind of in a flow out of the southwest, bringing in all this moisture, and it's coming in out of the Gulf. And until we get something big to change that, which is happening this weekend, it's kind of the status quo now. We're going to be this way for at least a few days.
Yeah, you're talking about something big over the weekend as I look at the 7-day, and that something big is colder temperatures.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, kind of another fall spring here.
Yeah.
And, it's just the seasons back and forth. And Tennessee in a unique place to where there is that struggle all the time. If we were two states or a state north, it'd be always winter. But we're at that point to where if the jet stream from the south gets very active, it warms us up. Winds are gusty out of the southwest. That's bringing in the warmth. They've been 30, 35 mile an hour gusts. That'll continue too, at least through probably Friday, maybe even into Saturday.
Yeah, I recognized it was going to be a windy day bright and early around 6 o'clock this morning as I was heading out to go work out. I was like,
you definitely don't want to spend an hour doing your hair.
No, that would be wasted hairspray for sure. But yeah, we see that cold spell coming, but hopefully that's going to be short-lived.
It is. We have a trough that's going to build in on the East Coast. When we say trough, that's the jet stream dipping down from Canada and allowing cold air to rush in. So that's only going to be here a couple of days, and then our temperatures do warm up thereafter back into the 50s. Not the 70s yet again, but at least up above our average.
All right. Mike Simon, as always, we appreciate you
Thank
and your
you.
weather. Well, just minutes before we started this stream, I had the opportunity to sit down with one of our reporters. This is our conversation about a story that you'll see later today on 10 News. Olivia Daig joining us now. Olivia, thank you. You spent part of the day in Tellico Plains bringing us up to date on a story involving a track that was to be built in memory of a young runner. Let's do the backstory. Lead us up to the now.
Yeah, so the Tellico Plains community lost an amazing athlete last year. Her name is Dara Wiseman. She was a senior and she died tragically in a car accident. She won state 6 times. She was just a phenomenal athlete. And what was so amazing about her story was she really had to work hard to get to places to train. There's not a track in Tellico Plains or really in Monroe County. She trained in Knoxville. And I did that drive today. It is about an hour and a half to get from her high school to our 10 News studio. So that just shows you how dedicated she was. Her family, now suffering with all of this grief, is trying to put that into action and raise money to build a track at Tellico Plains High School in memory of their daughter.
So they have raised money with the hope that this would come to fruition. Where does it stand right now?
So the family independently raised, I talked to the dad today, Chris. He tells me they raised around $81,000. But a track like this to go around a football field is expensive. They had an original goal of $500,000. They actually got funding from the state. Representative Mark Cochran, he represents McMinn and Monroe counties, actually got it in the budget, $500,000. Now there's questions about how we get that money, how the school district really gets that money and gets the ball rolling on this project. I think that's where the frustration lies.
Yes, this family certainly wants to see it to come to fruition, but we're going to have much more on this story starting today at 4 o'clock. Olivia, thanks so much for taking time to share it with us. We appreciate you. And when we come back, we will have the first of our conversations with the candidates running for Knox County Mayor. Commissioner Larsen Jay joining us next on 10 at 2. Stay with us. In August, Knox County voters will go to the polls to elect a new county mayor. Glenn Jacobs is term limited. Thus, it is time to elect a person who will lead our county into the foreseeable future. As we speak, 4 people have thrown their hats into the ring, if you will, 1 Democrat and 3 Republicans. We will be talking to each of these candidates throughout the coming weeks and months about their vision for Knox County. So we hope you'll stick with us as we go forth with those discussions. But we begin today with a candidate running as a Republican. Many of you know him as a Knox County commissioner, or the flower guy.
Good morning. Thanks.
Larsen Jay. Larsen, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and welcome to our podcast.
I like it.
space.
It's
You like
cozy in here.
It is. We just need like candles and some Zen music going and everything. But yeah, you are Knox County Commissioner, but you're so much more than that. And for a lot of people who don't know you, give us the Cliff Note version of Larsen Jay.
Yeah, I've been really proud to be part of the Knoxville and Knox County community for 31 years now. 2-time graduate of the University of Tennessee, so came here for undergrad and then pursued a career in film and television production, which took me to Dallas and Los Angeles and then all over the world, and then back here to work in television, where was part of the downtown renaissance of the early 2000s and really a group of people that, including our mayor at the time, that sort of leaned in and said we need to have a vibrant heart of our city. And then met my wife, Adrienne, who was a reporter and interviewed me on the morning news about sort of who would live in downtown while it was still pretty rough. And here we are, 21 years later together, and Knoxville's been my home. I've loved being a part of rebuilding the downtown, but also helping nudge the community in an impactful way through Random Acts of Flowers, the ice rink downtown, reopening the Bijou. I've been back in the private sector, and somewhere along the way ran for office and really have found a passion for public service on top of all of that. And so it's been a great honor to serve. I have 516,000 bosses now, including you, and I wake up every day just trying to see how can I be helpful to as many people as possible.
Yeah, you said you have 516.
Yeah, that's the new number.
Bosses.
It's growing fast,
But you are wanting to seek the top role of the county, Knox County mayor. Your fingerprints are throughout the city, the county. Why do you wish to attain that role?
Well, I don't think there's any better time to serve your country and your community than right now. And we are in need of leadership with a vision that is honest and productive and actually figures out a way to kind of move the community forward in a really tangible and dynamic way. I've lived and worked or had a business in 8 different communities around Knox County in my time here, and I've found great value in being a commissioner and being helpful and finding ways to solve problems. And I didn't know, I ran for office to have an opportunity to serve and lead, but I didn't know that I would like it as much as I did. I come from a long line of military family members, and so service is in our blood. Adrienne and I and our family have always been ones who show up and help wherever is needed, and so it's who we are. And in public service, I think what you find is beyond the politics and the campaigns, you find that you really can be helpful to people. You can elevate their voice, you can solve problems, you can help be a navigator to people that don't know where to go, and you can make things a little bit better. And that really is tangible on a local level, and that's why I'm focused not on Nashville, not on Washington. I'm focused on Knox County and what I can do here. And as a commissioner, I've seen the impact, and now I'm applying to be the CEO of Knox County so I can, further that impact and help this community really grow at a pivotal time.
That gives me a launch pad to the question I was going to ask you. So often people are consumed with what is happening on a national level, but yet it's the everyday goings-on in Knox County that really do impact people the most. Do you find that people are engaged?
They're getting
Locally?
more engaged locally, but I was like you and everyone else, where I would yell at the national news, or I would sort of gripe about this or that or the other. And then when it was apparent to me that local is where it happens the most and how it's the biggest impact in your life, I saw a few of my colleagues, Richard Briggs, Hugh Nystrom, run for different offices, and I sort of, they talked to me about it, and then I started to go to meetings and realize, wait a second, 95% of everything you do in your daily life, your roads, your schools, your safety, your health department, your police force, like your environment, everything is happening right here, and it's governed. And I learned really, really quickly, you can't call Washington and get something fixed in your neighborhood. You kind of can't do that in Nashville, but most of this town has my cell number, and if you've got some issue, we can probably get to it pretty fast, and we can probably solve it. And it's that sort of radically responsive impact that is really appealing to me, because it's tangible and practical. We're not fighting over whatever. We're just trying to solve problems, and it usually doesn't come down to partisan politics. It comes down to, how can I be helpful to you in your neighborhood with your one issue, and that's really appealing to me. And so I find that local people are realizing that you can do something if you just stop, sort of tune out the noise and get to focus on your community. And that might be simple as, hey, let's go pick up trash on the side of the road this weekend. Might be as big as, we need a new school because, my God, this is old and overcrowded. It might be, I've been hitting the same pothole in my neighborhood for 20 years. Can we figure this out? Most of these things we can figure out on a local level, and that's just what I'm attracted to.
All right, we're going to start broad,
Yeah.
and then we're going to get specific.
Okay.
So I want to talk about those potholes. But first off, what is your vision if you become Knox County mayor? What is your vision?
Knox County is at a really crucial and pivotal moment. We are literally at the crossroads of the country, with the two major interstates that go from Canada to the Keys and starts right here and goes all the way to California, with half the country's population within 500 miles of where we sit. We are at the epicenter of growth, and being named as the #1 place to relocate to in the country recently. And now we are in the top 5% of most populated counties in the entire United States. And it happened overnight. And I think that crucial time is going to require executive leadership experience and an ability to tackle all of those growing pains with all of those opportunities, while also dealing with a whole bunch of problems that we don't want to talk about. And that's going to be a crucial moment for what is the next 20 and 40 years going to look like. And so my vision is really not about the next 2 or 4 year election cycle. That's not what I'm focused on. My decisions are rooted in the next 20 and 40 years of what this community will look like. And it starts with infrastructure first. It follows by strong and supported law enforcement, and then an excellent education system that sort of ties everything together. But what I see as a vision is a prosperous place that is growing. Yes, we don't have a drawbridge. We can't just say, sorry, we're all full here. But a prosperous place that really brings opportunity. If we do it right, if we harness the growth, if we're smart about our planning, and we have real executive leadership experience at the helm, we can have a place where your children and grandchildren will want to live here. So my vision is rooted in, I want my children to come back here, and I want my grandchildren one day to come and choose here. But if we don't do that right, they're going to move somewhere else. And I think that's the sort of critical place we're at right now. We could put our head in the sand and wake up 20 years later and really be on a downslide, or we can lean in and figure out how to make this the best place in the Southeast to live.
And to make it the best place, you hit schools. We talk
100%.
roads, everything. It takes money.
It does.
It takes money.
It takes investment.
Okay.
And I think that's the difference, because you and every one of the bosses I report to every single day, over 500,000 people, you own this company. We are a Knox County public corporation. That's all we are. We do 5 services for you. We deliver education, safety, infrastructure, health, and economic development. That's what we wake up and work on. And every year you invest in that with your taxes, whether it be your property taxes or your sales tax. You invest in your company, and your company provides 5 services. So yes, those things require investment, just like every company does, just like every family does. If you don't invest in your children and their education, it's not going to be a great outcome. If you don't invest in your business, it's not going to be prosperous. So I think we have to reframe the discussion about, this is something you own. Mm-hmm. I just happen to be on the board of directors now, and I'm applying for the new CEO position. But it's your company. And what can I do to help it make it better?
Okay, $700 million going to education.
Absolutely.
Is that enough going forth?
It's a great question. I don't know if the answer is yes, but I know we're heading in the right direction. Now, I think the single best investment you can ever make period, end of discussion, is education. I've seen it on a local level, a national level. I've seen it internationally change communities. If you can have an educated community, you can have a brilliant workforce. You can have people that actually thrive in their lives. Everything ties to education. And education doesn't look the same for everybody, but the ability for us to invest in that, is it enough? It depends on what you want out of your education system. But we're heading in the right direction. I'm a big fan of the school system and Dr. Reiswick's leadership in focusing on different paths of life. We want a path where when you walk out of high school, you're going to graduate from high school, and then you're going to have an opportunity to go into the trades. You're going to have to go into the opportunity to go to the military, to go to secondary education, to go start a business, or to go right into a company as an apprentice. Find that purpose, and education will help. But it is the fuel for our entire community. 95% of every one of our children will go through public schools, and if you can't see that as the best investment possible, then we're not on the same page. But I see it as an amazing opportunity to excel. Every great community has started with great education.
Let's talk about property taxes, because that was brought up. Haven't been raised in Knox County, if I have this correct, since 1999.
Correct.
In August, you said that you do want to cut the county's $36 wheel tax by 2028. Knox County does have the state's fourth highest outstanding debt at $809 million. Okay, so we got a lot of figures going on here.
Yeah, we do.
Do we have enough money incoming and too much debt to make all that you want to make happen?
It's a great question that everyone is talking about,
Yes.
and we're having honest conversations about it. And I think the difference with it you'll find between me and other people is I'm going to have that honest conversation. I'm not going to just tell you I will or won't do something and we're all going to be fine. It is an incredible challenge that we have. Our tax rate has actually been cut 53% since 1999, because every 4 or 2 years we do a reassessment, and the state makes you become revenue neutral when you go through that. So you really kind of never make up ground, but that tax rate keeps getting lowered and lowered and lowered. So I don't think the tax rate needs to be increased, but we can't keep lowering it to a point where we have a company that can't pay our bills and can't invest properly. And so that's a very nuanced, long conversation, and we're going to have that this summer as we go through this next reappraisal. But the answer is you get exactly what you pay for. And when I went around over the last 2 years as a commissioner, but also as a candidate for mayor, I had 48 small group listening sessions in living rooms, on porches, at the donut shop, on the back of the pickup truck. And I heard from almost 800 people all across, from Strawberry Plains to Farragut and everywhere in between. And I asked them what grade would they give their company if they were going to do a review of their company that provides those 5 services. And the average was a C. And I said, what would you like it to be? And then let's have the conversation of what do you want to invest in? And then let's have the conversation of how do we pay for it? Because if your priority is having great schools for our community, having great law enforcement professionals to keep us safe, having great economic development and jobs and opportunity, and really rooted in the great infrastructure that's going to keep us moving, that comes with a price tag. But we have to figure out what that looks like, and we have to figure out how to manage the budget in a different way. We can't just put our head in the sand and say, we're never going to do anything. It just doesn't work like that. So I think I'm excited to lean into those conversations. Does the overall picture fit mathematically? Not right now, because in 4 years we can't pay our bonded debt because we've had this sort of don't do anything approach. And now
for a long time.
And that's been good. Like, I'm a big fan of low taxes, but when you're 76th lowest in the state, but you're the 3rd largest county and growing very, very fast, sometimes the equation doesn't match. And that's really what my approach is as the applicant for being the CEO. Take a business-minded approach. Talk about what it takes. Talk about what our debt is. What is our needs? How are we going to pay for all of this? And go at it strategically, not politically.
Last question. We could go on and on and on, but we'll make this your last. You will face Education Board Chair Betsy Henderson and fellow Commissioner Kim Frazier in the Republican primary. Why should people vote for you over them?
I think the clear difference is experience, executive leadership experience, professional experience, having worked in the private sector, having worked in the nonprofit world, having started several different companies, some that are on a national level now, being part of a family company that's 100 years old, manufacturing company that understands, what it takes to support people and build great products for this country. Having 8 years of county commission experience, having worked on virtually every committee and structure and understanding that, I think the difference is somebody who's ready to go to work on day one. It's not a training ground. It's not a ramp-up opportunity. It's not a we'll figure it out later. For 8 years, I've been doing the work representing all 500,000 plus people across Knox County. I've taken that very seriously, and I've delivered tangible, practical results. So if you look at my record of accomplishments professionally, if you look at my actual deliverables and my report card as a commissioner, and you look at the vision of where we're going, I think that there's a clear choice, and I'd love to have an opportunity to lead the county.
Well, many more questions I have, but we'll wait until our next meetup. But thank you, Larsen.
Thank you for
being
the
with us.
opportunity to be
We
here.
appreciate you. All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Yeah. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't. Okay, we're in break.
When we come back in 90 seconds, Robin will read 3 teasers to upcoming stories.
All righty. And then get straight to Mr. West for 2 minutes, and then we'll say goodbye. Oh, is it? Now what's tonight? Okay.
Just because I'm watching the clock, Robin, I'm still going to flash a 2-minute sign at you.
Okay. And that's when I need to wrap or
No, that's when we have 2 minutes
left. Oh,
from wrap.
2 minutes. Okay. Yeah, 2 minutes.
I'll give you a wrap.
Okay. Thank you. Wes, if I'm starting to do this, that's the sign that I'm getting the wrap.
Yeah, we're shooting for good. Going to try to roll the outro at 27:45, so don't want to cut you off when I do. I've been cut off before.
Haven't we all?
Life's cutting me off.
I know.
One needs a new alternator too now.
Oh,
So like on everything else that's been for the past like 2 weeks or 2 months, it's like uncle, uncle.
I know.
I'm screaming uncle.
It's like stop life. I know these are life situations, but can it stop?
It's like should I have made a principal stand to leave CBS?
Well, you and Anderson Cooper. Did you see Anderson left?
But he got a better buyout.
You are watching 10 at 2, streaming on WBIR. Plus, here are a few stories that you'll see a little later today on 10 News. A man was arraigned today for a second time in the 2024 shooting of 2 Blount County deputies. Kenneth Wayne DeHart Jr., charged with first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder. Last year, a judge granted DeHart a new preliminary hearing, effectively resetting the trial process after finding that DeHart was denied his constitutional right of choosing an attorney. Coming up at 5 and 6, where this case stands as prosecutors prepare again to pursue the death penalty. Also, we have continuing coverage on news that broke last night from the Catholic Church here in Knoxville. Bishop Richard Sticka died suddenly yesterday. He was the city's longest serving bishop, serving from 2009 to 2023. He resigned amid allegations of mishandling claims of sexual abuse within the church. The latest comments from the diocese about his life and death coming up a little later. And then tonight on 10 News at 11, we dig deeper into the relationship between U.S. Immigration Enforcement and the Knox County Sheriff's Office, what deputies are and are not doing in the Trump administration's crackdown on people in the country illegally. We spoke to 10 News reporter Ellis Rold yesterday here on 10 at 2, her investigation on ICE in Knox County tonight at 11. And with that, we turn now to Wes Rucker, just minutes away from 10 at 3, talking all things sports. What we got on tap today, Wes?
We got a lot of fun stuff in the toy department today, Robin. We've got, well, most of it fun, some of it not fun. Lady Vols had a rough game last night at Ole Miss. That was the rescheduled one from the weather, and 2-day turnaround from the Texas game. Go on the road. Not a great game there, and Kim Caldwell with the breeze by of Coach Yo afterward. I'm sure
you showed me that.
We will discuss that, maybe a little frostiness later. But a good night for Tennessee baseball is over there at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. The Vols took care of the midweek game. Now they're getting ready for a good Kent State team coming in this weekend, a better team than the name would suggest that they are. And then obviously we got basketball tonight. Emily and I will be over there covering Tennessee and Oklahoma, the men. So there's a lot to talk about today. Nothing on Joey.
Okay, nothing. And this is something it wrapped up last Friday, but we were saying it could, being the operative word here, there could be a decision this week or soon.
I would expect it to be this week. I wouldn't have been surprised if it had come Tuesday, a long, 3-day holiday, for people in the non-sports world. So it's, you've got maybe a little extra time to kind of get some thoughts together. But as we've talked about for weeks, this is a complex ruling with ramifications that go beyond this. So I'm not shocked it's taken a little bit longer, but I would think this week.
Yeah. Wes, as always, we appreciate you. We'll be tuning in a little more than 30 minutes, 10 at 3 with Wes Rucker. And that is our time. Thank you for watching 10 at 2, streaming on WBIR+. You can see Wes at the top of the hour, and we'll have your latest headlines today at 4 o'clock. Have a great afternoon.